everything that Eli Drinkwitz has asked for from the University of Missouri and from the fan base he's gotten, right? So like the investment, not only that he's put into the program, well, he's had a very strong return on investment, if we want to put it that way. His investment into the program has returned a whole lot to him. It's Mizzou That's Who here on KC Sports Network. Tucker Franklin hanging out with Maggie Johnson to give you what you need to know heading into Mizzou's first road game of the season in Auburn, Alabama, coming off that the disappointing loss to the Alabama Crimson Tide. Maggie, a little bit later in the week than we usually go for the Mizzou That's Who podcast, but how are you doing? How are things?
I'm great. I just got back from the happiest place on earth. Went down to Orlando for a couple of days, did Epcot Magic Kingdom. You know, it's one of those things that after you suffered through that final drive of that Alabama game last week, you just got to get out and go do something that's going to make you smile and happy. And so that's what I did. So my feet are in a little bit of pain, but I'm now looking forward to this Auburn game tomorrow. And like you said, first road game. Finally, I'm tired of people talking about it. I'm tired of people talking about the fact that we haven't had a road game. I'm like, we get it. We understand. Is it uncommon? I guess so. But It's not like it's never been done before. So, right. And the SEC scheduled those games.
Yeah, I think it's so funny when places and people act like that the university did it, right? I know that a lot of time, like the SEC does schedule the conference games, right? Like they have your opponents. That's why it's like, oh, you guys don't play anybody. It's like Missouri didn't have a choice in who they play. Yeah, the non-conference games, they have a choice when they play who they play in those games. But other than Missouri didn't have the opportunity, didn't say, oh, we want to play 6 straight home games. I actually don't think that the university would really want that, truthfully.
No. And the thing is that a lot of these SEC teams play a random team in November. That's still a home game. And so it's just scheduled differently. It's not like Auburn plays Mercer in a few weeks. And a lot of teams, they play their non-con, like Clemson, South Carolina, right? They always play each other. Well, one year that's going to be away and one year that's going to be home. This year we play Kansas at home. Next year we'll play it away. Teams have a similar setup. It's just the way that the SEC or whomever will schedule it. And Auburn or South Carolina and Clemson play their rivalry game during rivalry week.
Right. I mean, I don't know if they'll ever get to the spot where they move Missouri and Kansas to rivalry week, probably just because Arkansas is always going to be that, unfortunately.
Maybe. I don't know. I think they're gonna change it.
Really?
I think they're gonna give us Oklahoma. I think they're gonna move it.
I wouldn't hate that because there's a lot more vitriol there towards Oklahoma than there is towards Arkansas.
And I think they might give Arkansas back that LSU game. I think they might switch it up now with that in there. And obviously we probably won't know that until, I don't know, December, January, February, but whenever that comes out. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that change.
Yeah, that would be a welcome change for me. It just doesn't feel like the Arkansas game has the same heat, right, as all those other games on that same weekend do.
Arkansas's schedule their season is typically over by that point.
Yes, so that's a great point. Yeah.
So I mean, even a few years ago when neither team was good and we were both like, oh, who's going to make it to a bowl game by winning this game or something like that. But right now with Mizzou being in such a better position, it's just not an exciting game.
Let's talk about a little bit the not Auburn. Let's talk about Alabama before we move on to Auburn, Maggie. I want to get your thoughts on it. I did the post-game show obviously right after the time. My feelings, I don't know if they've necessarily changed from that. I've obviously calmed down since that game. But overall, your thoughts and feelings on like the vibe of the game too. I saw that place was packed out. The atmosphere looked incredible. But just your thoughts on Missouri, Alabama.
I think it's impossible to not feel disappointed and to not feel like you see something slipping away. And now I'm not saying that there's not still an opportunity, but it's just so much harder to get where you want to go with that loss, because people looked at Missouri's schedule at the beginning of the year and were like, oh, it's so easy, but it's not easy. Right now you have are they in the top 5? Texas A&M still come in to visit you. Oklahoma showed some weaknesses last week against Texas. Pretty bad. I think John Mateer is still hurt and probably shouldn't have played in that game. But at Oklahoma in a revenge game is not going to be easy. So you've still got these hard matchups coming, and I'm not sure if you lose to Texas A&M, even if you lose to Texas A&M and beat everyone else, and you end up going 10-2. I'm not sure how the committee looks at you once again and is like, oh, you couldn't beat any of the good teams. You just beat the teams you were supposed to beat.
Right.
And would they pass us over for that? I could see it happening. Yeah. So like Drink said, it's a loss, but not all is loss. I think you have to be pretty perfect going forward.
Right. And that's kind of like what the bummer is, right? It's very hard to put into words like the feelings of this game, because Maggie, both you and I picked them to lose this game, right? So like we both kind of expected for them not to win the game, but at the end when that final whistle happened, you're just like, man, they could have, and they should have probably won that game. And have
won that game
in a lot of the ways. Like there's been the play, obviously the last one with Marquise Johnson. Upset that he doesn't get the ball. I mean, I think he has every right to be upset that he didn't get the ball. There's a couple times that Marquise Johnson was running wide open where he doesn't get a pass thrown his way, or it does get thrown 50 rows deep into the sideline, right? I mean, I understand Marquise Johnson's frustrations. I totally get it. I think there's a lot more vitriol towards Bo Perbula than I thought there would be in that game. He didn't play great, right? But I don't think we need to throw the baby out with the bathwater there. I think that there's still plenty of time for him to be good and develop. I still am confounded and confused by the play calling. I hope this week, Maggie, that they just come out and run the ball like 44 times.
Yeah,
just like, all right,
do what's on your hat right now and run the damn ball. I don't know why they went. You and I talked a little bit at the beginning before we went on air, and just talking about trying too hard and trying to surprise them maybe a little bit more than they should have. But the way that when Hardy did get the ball, which was only 12 times, he ran hard. As always. So anybody who has been talking about how Hardy's not as good because he only had 56 yards or whatever it was, that's ridiculous to me. I just don't understand why we kept passing on those first and second downs and then getting ourselves into these third and longs and then being like, oh, well, maybe we'll try to run the ball or something like that. And just going away from everything that you've had success doing the beginning of this season. I will say I did want them to come out and just air it, come out and just, and they did. They got that touchdown to Brett Norfleet, which was awesome. That first drive just looked so smooth. It looked so polished, ready to go. And then the middle of the game, those second and third quarters just kind of looked off. Yeah.
And I think that first drive looked like they had been preparing for that drive for 2 weeks, right? That's what it looked like. And that's what it should have looked like. So it's one of those things a lot of time I talk about this in the NFL, but it's way more prevalent in college football. Those scripted drives, those first 15 plays, anything after, I'm never going to overreact. If Missouri goes out there on Saturday and they allow Auburn to score on the first drive, right? You won't see me overreacting because it's okay, they were planning for that. And then if you're a defensive coordinator, your job is to react. Defense is a reactionary position. Offense is proactive, right? You are doing things because you know what the defense is typically going to do, so you can usually run the plays that you think the defense is going to run. And typically they do go out there and run because that's what they've shown. And then you react, right? I think Corey Patuna's done a good job at reacting, and I think we've seen that a lot of times. He's done a really good job reacting and making those adjustments in the game. So I'm never going to overreact to the first 15 plays from the other team. Same thing for Missouri, though. And also the other side of the coin is true, is that you should never overreact for Missouri's offense when you see that game, when you see that first drive, and you're like, oh, they're going to score every time they touch the ball. Well, it might look like that, but they had been game planning for that first 15 plays for probably 3 weeks, actually, because they probably didn't spend a whole lot of time on UMass, I'll be honest. So it's probably been 3 weeks that they were working on that drive in particular right there. And also, Ty Simpson balled out. Like that's the other part too, is that Ty Simpson just played really well, and the other guys are on scholarship too, and he might be the I don't know how far I want to go with it, but I am a very, very big fan of Ty Simpson, what he can do at Alabama.
He places the ball so well, and especially when you're going against a secondary that has issues, has a lot of issues. But the way that he managed third and longs all day, even the fourth quarter, fourth down. I mean, he's just someone that you want leading your team. Like he, to me, and I know this will be a weird comparison, but just like, listen, like, hear me out.
Yeah.
Brady Cook didn't have the talent that Ty Simpson had, but Brady Cook was a winner. Yeah. He was a winner. That's how I see Ty Simpson, but with that additional amount of talent, right? With the game on the line, he's just Ty Simpson's the kind of guy that you want the ball in his hands. Like, you trust him to make the game winning play, to drive down the field. That's how I felt about Brady Cook. Now I'm questioning it a little with Beau Pribula, but he has the opportunity to change all of our minds and to show us that it was a one-off game.
Yeah, that was his worst game that he's played, Beau, as a Missouri Tiger. Now, granted, it's the hardest team that he's played, right? So, that's a team that Alabama probably will be in the college football playoff, and they'll probably be in the hunt for the SEC title. So, like, that's a good football team, and Missouri did hang with them. I know that, like, I don't like doing that in terms of just like, oh, well, it was good. I'm proud of the boys because they stuck with him and they hung in there, right? But just like,
no moral victories.
Yeah, there's no moral victory there. You want to beat them. You had the opportunity to beat them. You had every opportunity to beat them. It's different than like remember a few years ago, Maggie. I think this is what might have been year 1 or 2 of the podcast when they almost beat Georgia that one day.
Yeah, 2022.
Yeah, and that was a big moral victory. We're just like, whoa, what happened? What happened? We almost beat Georgia at home. That's crazy. And we were like, wow, maybe this can be good. And so, like, that's a lot different than what, like, this is. Like, yeah, you almost beat Alabama at home, but, like, you probably should have beat Alabama at home.
That's how far I think Drink has gotten our program. Yeah. Yes. Was now where it's like, yes, you and I both picked them to lose this game.
Right.
Not because we don't have the talent to beat them. I think it's just both of us said, until they can beat them, why would we make that pick? In the back of my mind the whole time, though, of course, I'm like, yeah, we can beat Alabama. Yeah. Alabama's shown weaknesses. We've shown great strengths. Like, it's a very possibility that we could beat Alabama. But yes, we should have. My question is, do you think the unsportsmanlike conduct in the first drive of the game played that big of a role?
It felt like they were chasing that all day, right? Because that puts them in like 3rd and 15, third and really long. Because they get that stop on that screen pass, that puts them in 3rd down. Who knows? Ty Simpson might have dialed something up on 3rd and long, right? Because he did all day. So who knows if it would have started there. But think about the momentum shift, though. If you immediately go down, you have your way on offense. Those first 15, I think it might have been a 7-play drive. On that first drive, you go 75 yards, you score a touchdown. Then you go out there, tackle for loss. I think again. No, it was the screen pass up as the tackle for loss. You have 2 straight tackles for loss to bring up 3rd and like 15, and then the momentum. I can't imagine what that building would have been like on a third and really long. And you get them off the field, you get the ball back. That momentum. It's very hard to try to quantify. People have been trying to quantify momentum for a very long time. It's something that you can't really do. It's very hard to try to even talk about like what that could have done for the team just to get that stop immediately after. And
you're getting good field. You're getting good field position because
they were deep. Yeah,
they were deep. Yeah, that's one of my biggest. Just what ifs about the game. I don't think the targeting made that big of a difference. Do I still think it's kind of stupid?
I don't know what he's supposed to do there. Is the other problem. Is it was it targeting? It was close. I don't necessarily think it was. I thought it was a shoulder into a chest, but I don't know what he's supposed to do. Is he supposed to let him catch it? I that's what's so frustrating to me is that it was a no-win situation. Then obviously you have him tossed out of the game, and then you're in a situation where you're already a thin safety room, where you're getting even thinner there in that regard. That I do think that probably the taunting was probably the bigger of the two, though. I do agree with that.
I agree. There needs to be a little bit more discipline. This isn't a one-off thing. We've gotten a couple of those taunting calls, so the defense is so good. They've just got to be smarter with things like that and, clean it up, because that's really what Alabama did. Alabama from Florida State moving forward cleaned up their penalties like no other. And if we can clean up those penalties too, there's no reason that we can't, continue to compete with every team that we have left on our schedule.
I agree. And I mean, it's going to start with Auburn. I think that's going to be a really interesting game. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but we do need to hit our first break, Maggie. And there's some big news. James Franklin fired, and that has stirred up a whole shitstorm of rumor mills and unverified Twitter accounts tweeting stuff out about certain things. So Eli Drinkwitz also had plenty to say at the podium about the rumor mill and Twitter as a whole. So let's take a break. On the other side, we'll talk Mizzou coaching. Obviously, Drinkwitz. I think we got to talk about the Kirby Moore thing that came out during the bye week too, that has been called false by Eli Drinkwitz as well. And then we'll get into the Auburn game as well. Lots going on around the Missouri football program. So we'll take a break. We'll be back right after this.
Calling all Chiefs fans, you could be on the field at the 50 inside GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Visit Chiefs.com/GEHA now. Enter to win a chance to be on the field for a once-in-a-lifetime view of the pre-game coin toss. Plus, you can score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm Brett Goodwin, one of the owners of The Learning Tree. The Learning Tree is a neighborhood toy store in Prairie Village, Kansas. This has been here in this location since 2000s, and my husband Alan and I purchased the store in 2023. Alan and I grew up in families where we've always wanted to have a business together. Alan grew up, for instance, his parents had a jewelry store. I worked in a local toy store here in Prairie Village when I was growing up. When this opportunity happened in 2023, we knew right away we wanted to contact them and pursue the store. We wouldn't have been able to get the store without the team at Emprise Bank. From the day we contacted them, they knew what we needed to do, which was very helpful. I would absolutely recommend the team at Emprise Bank to anyone looking to secure a business. We worked with Emprise from day one. They were extremely helpful. They were always great resources. We talk to them frequently. They know the area. They're very friendly. We know who we're going to talk with, and they know what we need to do. We hope we'll see you at the Learning Tree.
Chiefs Kingdom, I have got a question for you. What is your favorite touchdown? Well, for me, I can confidently say that my favorite touchdown, it's the next one, because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. From the first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. From spreads to money lines, same-game parlays, regular parlays, you want it, DraftKings has got it. Here's the best part. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. I use DraftKings Sportsbook, and you should too. Your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Minimum minus 500 odds required. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Looking to remodel your home and in search of a top quality company to do the job? Contact Elenco. Since 1986, Elenco has been the remodeler of choice for customers throughout Kansas and Missouri. As a family-owned and operated business, Elenco provides customers top-quality products and unbeatable service, straight from their family to yours. From windows and doors to siding, insulation, and bathroom renovations, there's no need that Elenco can't meet and exceed. Elenco only installs products that have proven track records of success, such as the Kohler Luckstone shower system. Elenco's installers are factory-trained professionals who know how to get the job done, not only quickly, but flawlessly. Whether you're located in Kansas City, Topeka, Wichita, or a rural town in northeastern Kansas or western Missouri, Elenco will come to you. Go to elencohome.com for more information. That's ALENCO home.com. Again, elencohome.com for more information and contact them about all your home improvement needs.
All right, let's talk about it, Maggie. The Missouri football coach has been linked to some rumors. Every single job that comes open, and even jobs that aren't open yet, he has been linked to them. Which I think Eli Drinkwitz, I know a lot of people, I want to get your thoughts on this, Maggie, because I thought what Eli said at the podium I thought what he said was good. And I know a lot of people wanted him to come out and say, I want to be at Missouri forever and I'm never leaving ever, ever, ever. And he's not going to say that.
Even if he would say that, Mike Anderson said that, and Mike Anderson left 48 hours later. I don't know if it was like
Blake Baker tweeted out the "I'm not going I'm not fucking leaving" gif and left a week later. So I mean, it doesn't really matter what these guys publicly say. Personally, I thought what Eli Drinkwitz said was like insightful into like his like headspace and process and what he had said about originally. I think Gabe asked him the question. Obviously, Gabe was going to do it. He's the most tenured guy on the beat. He's the guy to ask those questions, right? I think he asked him like, how do you tune out the noise? Very well worded question too. And so it didn't necessarily be like, oh, you're going to take Penn State. Not like Matt Rule's been asked about Penn State. It hasn't been like that. But I thought his answer of this reflects well on the University of Missouri was a good answer. And he's right. It does reflect well on the university that you've got programs like Florida that's not open yet. You've got like these SEC positions and high end Big Ten positions that are like, oh, let's get the guy at the University of Missouri. That does reflect well on the university. It reflects well on the job that he's done. And truthfully, Penn State, Florida, Arkansas, Virginia Tech shouldn't, but UCLA, they should call Eli Drinkwitz. They should. I mean, truthfully, they should. They wouldn't be doing their job if they didn't check in with Eli Drinkwitz and what he's doing in here. I know Kirk Shanae just signed a Godfather contract to never leave Indiana.
Insanity.
He's 64 though, I think already. So like he's only a few. I say few liberally, right? But he's only a few years away from like where Nick Saban was when he retired. So he doesn't quite have the same career lifespan, I'll say in air quotes, as like Eli Drinkwitz or any of these guys would have. Look, there's some really interesting coaching options in the Sun Belt as well. Look, that's where Eli Drinkwitz came from. I think John Summerall will be a really interesting one at Tulane. Golish, who is at USF, sorry, should be an interesting candidate to see where those guys land. But overall, like, what are your thoughts on the opening of Penn State? James Franklin being fired I think is crazy.
I think it's insane.
Yeah, especially the amount of money they have to pay him $50 million to go away. Like, that's crazy. He just lost 3 games and his starting quarterback is hurt for the rest of the year. And you're just going to fire that. It's crazy to me. That process doesn't make any sense, but Eli Drinkwitz's response to that as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I'm not worried at all about Florida. I was for a bit, and then I'm not at all anymore. Penn State is a little bit different of a beast in itself because of where the program is now. Like, they've been in a pretty good spot. Florida's not been in a good spot. Florida's not been in a good spot for a while. So you're doing a little bit more of a rebuild. But here's my thing with Penn State is besides the couple of players that we've been getting from Pennsylvania, he really doesn't have any, New England, East Coast type of recruiting, whatever word you want to, I can't even think of what word I want to use.
It's like ties, the pipeline.
Yeah, the ties. Yeah, he hasn't worked up there. That's not where he's been at Auburn. He's been at NC State. He knows the Southeastern Conference very well.
Right.
I don't understand why he would want to go there for any other reason except maybe for the name and where the program's been, but they haven't been super successful outside of last year and, being in the college football playoff. It's not like they're winning a bunch of Big Ten championships. I mean, Michigan and Ohio State still rule the Big Ten, so. And
Oregon's there too now. I mean,
and Oregon's there too. And I think Oregon is ahead of Penn. I mean, obviously they just beat Penn State. I think that they're ahead of Penn State in terms of brand right now as well. So I don't know if I see the allure.
Right.
Here's my question for you.
Okay.
Mizzou goes 9-3 this year.
Okay.
9-3. Misses the playoff likely, makes a decent bowl. How do you feel about the state of the Missouri program still moving forward?
I still think I feel pretty good about the program as a whole. It would be a disappointing year, right? But Maggie, coming into the season, I necessarily didn't think this team was going to be as good as they showed through the first 6 weeks, right? So I kind of thought that this team was going to be like that 9-3, right? That's kind of what I thought.
That's what I picked them at.
Yeah, I think I might have picked them at 8-4, right? Because of some of those games, but because I didn't necessarily see what we were going to see, if that makes sense. With what some of these guys have done, and some of these guys have performed up to a level that I thought would be incredible. Like that'd be the best case scenario if they performed at this level. They have so far to this point of the season. I don't think it would be a disappointment if they miss the college football playoff, but make a good bowl game. Say they do win that bowl game, right? Then they get to 10-3, right? They can say they had another 10-win season. I think that's still a positive. I say spin in air quotes, right? That's still a positive. Like he can still use that as a recruiting point of 4 straight 10-win seasons, right? He can still use that. He doesn't have a problem recruiting, right? Like he's not having a problem recruiting to Missouri getting a bunch of guys even after losing to Alabama. He's still getting a massive amount of commits and flipping guys. Yeah, he had a good week. Leading into this Auburn game. So I don't know. I don't think I would be upset. I don't think I'd be necessarily disappointed with the state or the direction of the program at that point too, just because here's the thing is that the transfer portal is makes everything so volatile. So it's okay. If Missouri does see that they have some weaknesses here, they're just going to hit the portal and they're going to add another quarterback if they have to. Or they're going to add another wide receiver. They're going to grab a defensive end like they've grabbed the last couple of years, right? So that's the other part of it is the way he's done so good in the portal. I think that is cause for, all right, maybe he can grab some more pieces in the portal, be better next year. They can retool a lot quicker, a lot faster there in that regard. And his recruiting has been fine too. So I don't think like a 9-3 missing the college football playoff would be one of those. Oh man, like I am worried about the program, but it would be certainly disappointing. I don't think he would be disappointed. I think everyone around the program would be disappointed that they didn't make the college football playoff. I think the expectation at this point is the playoff.
I agree with you. Here's my thing. I think if you go 9-3 at Penn State now, because you're seeing it after 100%, you come off James Franklin, it's a completely different situation. Yep. We're still waiting for our trajectory to, completely shoot up and to get to that next level. Now that Penn State's kind of been there making the playoffs and things like that, I think that is the only expectation.
Correct.
It's like Alabama, like with DeBoer, like they wanted to get rid of him last year because of that. So I think, Drink already gets paid. He's a top 10 paid coach. He might be sitting at like 11, 12 right now with Signetti's that might crazy contract. Yeah. But you're sitting here. People are still willing to invest in you. People are still seeing the good things that you're doing and have that confidence in you. I think if you go to programs like Florida or Penn State, they'll turn on you fast.
Mm-hmm.
They'll turn on you really, really fast. I just don't know if you want to put yourself into that situation this early in your career.
I agree. That's the thing, and I think the expectations is a huge part of it. If you're Eli Drinkwitz, why would you put yourself into that regard? But I mean, also as the competitors, like you want those expectations, right? Missouri will get there, right? If they keep having 10-win seasons, like Missouri's going to get there expectation wise. Everything that Eli Drinkwitz has asked for from the University of Missouri and from the fan base he's gotten, right? So like the investment, not only that he's put into the program, well, he's had a very strong return on investment, if we want to put it that way. His investment into the program has returned a whole lot to him. He got a renovated stadium. He's got a brand new practice facility. He's got his office is insane. It just I was in that one time and I was like, this is the most insane office of all time. You just have Coke bottles with your name on it. That's crazy. And that was the craziest part. Yeah. I would look, Maggie's got Coke bottles with her name on it. I guess I'm the only person who doesn't have Coke bottles with my name on it. Holy cow. But I was overall like he, I don't know how to say this better. Like he runs that town, like he runs Columbia, and he's not going to go to Happy Valley and have the same poll. He's not going to go to, what is it called? Not college. It's college something, right? College Park, college.
State College.
State College. State College. That's right. It's also in the middle of nowhere. You can't get to it very easily. I'm just going to name off all the things that suck about Penn State. So if Eli Drinkwitz is listening to this podcast, he knows that like
the only good thing right now about Penn State is their schedule next year is cake.
And if you have anything come up, they'll cover it up for you.
Yikes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another thing. The association still, I mean, we're 14 years past that. And it's
not good. Yeah. No, I still feel weird.
No.
Yeah. No, it
is.
Look, let's not act like James Franklin was a shining endorsement of Penn State either. James Franklin found himself in some hot water, covering some stuff up there too. So, I mean, I'm confused why they decided to move so quickly on James Franklin. Like that doesn't make very much sense to me.
I'm sure somebody with money. And that's the thing too, is I feel like Drink runs our program. Like he's got his boosters, but there's places like Texas A&M, University of Texas, where their boosters have real big says.
They're calling the shots. Yeah.
They're calling the shots. I think Texas A&M finally got away from that a little bit with Elko, and I think that's why they're having success. But I think when they had Jimbo there, I think that Jimbo wasn't calling as many shots. I think those big time boosters were, and you get yourself into trouble with that. But I feel like that would be similar at Florida. I feel like it would be similar at Penn State, but I feel like at Mizzou, like he's making all of the decisions himself.
And look, I feel like, obviously this is an outsider's perspective. I don't have anything like inside information here. It feels like he has like, this is I don't want to say better job, but like there's more, I feel like there's more pathways for success at Missouri than there is Penn State. I know the brand is a lot higher. Like I'm not ignorant enough to think that like that Penn State's or that Mizzou's a bigger brand than Penn State. Like it's a bigger brand. But I think, Maggie, kind of you laid this out too. If just like your expectations aren't as high yet, right? There. So like you don't have to, your hot seat is a little bit cooler when it comes down to it in that regard. You're in the SEC. If you go to the Big Ten, you got to be in the Big Ten. Still a top conference, sure, but everybody knows the SEC is better than the Big Ten. Everybody knows that.
There's a little bit more parity right now in the SEC too. 100%. I mean, if you look top to bottom, I would still say that the SEC is better than the Big Ten. I think the bottom of the Big Ten is probably where, outside of maybe Kentucky. I do think Kentucky's pretty bad.
Fair.
Yeah, but I think top to bottom, still the SEC is still better. I still think that the team that is in 10th through 12th place can still beat those top teams. I would not say that about the Big Ten, and I know people will be like, "Oh, but they beat Penn State." Penn State was not a top team. Mm-hmm. They just got exposed. So, I mean, like I said earlier, Ohio State, Michigan, even though they're not as good, but Michigan, Oregon now, they are the big dogs. Indiana, we'll put Indiana up there because Indiana just went in and beat Oregon. So
you need to.
So we'll put them up there too. I think that those teams are pretty unbeatable outside of those other teams. I think it's different in the SEC. So like you said, there is an opportunity to keep climbing to the top of the SEC. I'm not sure if the Big Ten is as similar.
I agree. And then Penn State is one of those programs too where I had somebody DM me and tell me that Mizzou was the Penn State of the SEC, and I sat back and thought about that for a second, and I was like, that sucks. I hate that. I hate that I'm thinking about that. I just can't win the big games. I do think that we need to talk about Auburn before we get out of here, Maggie, because this matchup is one that is just wildly intriguing because after the Alabama game ended, Missouri does only fall 2 spots in the AP poll. Finally, the AP poll does something respectable to Mizzou.
I was like, surely we fall out.
I was like, there's no way. But they only fell 2 spots. I think it does help. Obviously, like Oregon loses, and you had some other top 10 teams. And
it was a good game.
Yeah.
Statistically, the scoreboard, everything, it was a good game.
I think generally people walked away from the Mizzou-Alabama game and thought, oh, Mizzou and Alabama are like 2 really good football teams in the SEC. There were other games in the SEC that happened that you're like, oh, the one team is just so much worse than the other one. One being that Auburn-Georgia game. Now, Auburn's been hosed by the officials in like literally every single game this season, which it kind of does suck. But the game against Georgia was a rough one. At the end of they just couldn't stop the bleeding eventually is what ended up happening. They just couldn't stop Georgia for long enough. But Auburn comes into the game. It opens, I think, on Sunday as Auburn favorites. First road game for Missouri this year, right? You don't know how the guys are going to respond. I'll be interested to see that. You're going to learn. It was 2.5. Yes, I think it was 2.5 it opened at. Now, I don't know if you have it in front of you, Maggie, but Missouri is favorites. In the process of this week, which a lot has happened in this week, leading up to this for Alabama, or for Auburn, excuse me, we have now seen the momentum shift back to Missouri. Auburn dismisses their running back because he wasn't he wasn't living up to team expectations, I think is kind of what was said by what's his name? Hugh Freeze down there. I mean, his seat is hot. They've got all kinds of stuff. Jackson Arnold's not very good still. I mean, who would have thought? Their offensive line is bad. I mean, there's a lot going on in Auburn that is not good. They do not have momentum on their side heading into this game as they'll host Missouri, who is trying to look to be to get right. It's going to be a get right game for them to get back on schedule coming off of a loss to Alabama. I think we're going to learn a lot about Missouri in this game.
If you're an Auburn fan, you're frustrated because you have you start out 3-0, beat Baylor, had that great win against Baylor. They won like 38-24 or something like that. Great game against Baylor. And then you have a weird game against South Alabama where you win by a couple of scores, but it's a pretty weird game. And then you lose 2 1-possession games back to back with Oklahoma and Texas A&M, which, Oklahoma was 11th at the time. Texas A&M was 9th at the time. So you lose these close games. Then Georgia comes to you. You only lose by 10, but I don't feel like it.
It was a Big 10. It was a Big 10. Yeah.
It didn't feel like it felt that way. But here's the thing with Auburn is their defense is pretty good. They're especially against run-heavy teams. We're a run-heavy team, so that does make me nervous. Are they going to get over the hump and win one of those close games finally? But their offense, like you said, is bad. It is 112th in all of FBS in yards per game. It's not good. I am nervous about their defense. I think their defense is good. But like you said, with Jackson Arnold, he's unreliable. I don't know if his decision making is very smart, and his offensive line is terrible. So they're not giving him a chance to even make good decisions. I like Mizzou in this game. I was surprised that it opened up with Auburn, being favorited. But I think that it should have changed, especially after that Mizzou Alabama game. I don't know why Auburn would have ever been favored in it, but
yeah.
I think this is a good opportunity for Bo to bounce back and have a good game, especially through the air, because like us, we have this game as last week against Alabama. We had different strengths and different weaknesses. I think we have a similar weakness in the secondary not being very good. Auburn secondary is not very good.
That's very true. Auburn leaves much to be desired. Like, this was a team that I think at the beginning of the season we talked about this game could be real sneaky in terms of like this Auburn team. Like, we're going to find out a lot about them early. And truthfully, we did. We did find out a lot about Auburn early. That Oklahoma game was kind of brutal. Like, they gave up a touchdown that probably shouldn't have been a touchdown. Now that they got all this officiating stuff going on in the Georgia game, what was it? It was like 8 o'clock when the 2-minute warning. It was like 8:02 when the 2-minute warning happened. That game kicked off at like 6:30 or something like that. 8:02, the 2-minute warning happens. They don't get to halftime until 8:49 or something like that. So like that 2 minutes of game time took so long because they were reviewing that the fumble on the goal line that they called a fumble, but probably was a touchdown. There's still a lot that goes on there, and obviously Hugh Freeze was kind of fired up about that. The Auburn's kind of been in disarray for these past few years, and even going back to the last time that Missouri was at Auburn, they were in disarray there too. Missouri just couldn't capitalize and take advantage of it.
Well, they can't get away from scandal either, because they had the Brian Harsin, the whole thing, and then they go and hire the king of scandals in Hugh Freeze. So
that was a choice.
I don't know. I think it's all, yeah, it's crazy. I think it's all about who you bring in needs to be, I don't want to say a man of character, because it's college football.
Right. Someone who doesn't, someone we don't know anything about. That's really what you need.
Yeah. I mean, kind of. Yeah. I mean, you need somebody that you can trust to be decently smart when it comes to outside things.
Right.
I mean, but I don't expect anybody to be like a super amazing human. But I think it all started, with the Brian Harsin thing and basically bullying them out of that one. And then just making another super weird hire in Hugh Freeze. But here's the question. Who has more pressure this game? Does Mizzou have more pressure because of, they have to win basically to make the playoff and things like that? Or does Auburn have more pressure? Because I think that it's possible that Hugh Freeze is gone if he loses this game, which I think is a little crazy, because it's not like you're losing to the Mizzou of like 2015 or 2016 or whatever. You're losing to a good Mizzou, but I don't know if he'll be able to sustain 4 losses in a row.
Yeah, that is tough, because the coaching landscape, what we've seen this year is very different than in years past with in regards to coaching, is that teams are now pulling the trigger quicker. Last year, teams were hesitating to do it just because of like, you want to keep commits, you want the transfer portal, continuity, all of that. But this year, with the Pittman firing, Virginia Tech firing their coach, you lose Old Dominion. I think you deserve that. UCLA apparently made the right choice, and they had the right coach on their staff the whole time. That was crazy. I didn't know Deshaun Foster was that bad. No. But I think we're seeing teams pull the trigger a lot quicker. And again, I mentioned Summerall, we mentioned Golish as well. Like, a couple of the Sun Belt coaches could make sense for Auburn, right? You're staying in kind of the same territory. Like, if you want to be in on one of those coaches when they make that jump to a Power 4 school, because they will, those two coaches will. And Sun Belt's a very good conference. We've talked about that before. Like, I really do think the Sun Belt's a good conference. They got good coaches, they got good teams. If you want to take advantage of that, you kind of have to pull the trigger pretty quick. And I do think that there's probably a lot of pressure on Missouri, obviously, to win this football game, and they have to win it. It's a must-win game. I don't want to get it. Like, every game from here out is must win from Missouri. That's kind of the situation that they put themselves in. And, when Texas A&M comes to town after the bye weekend here in a couple weeks, like, it's going to be a pretty big game. Will it be bigger than Alabama though? I mean, we might be having conversations about, is this bigger than the Alabama game? And it might be.
If you beat Auburn and you go to Vandy and win it, I think it is. I think it is.
The stakes of that game get so much higher. But yes, this is a game that I think you have to take care of business. You got to take care of business in this one. You got you got to keep Auburn on the ropes. You can't let them find anything. You can't let them figure anything out. You can't let that happen. But I do think that probably Auburn has a little bit more pressure just with like the hot seat stuff going on. I think Missouri is in a good spot, truthfully. Like from what it seems like with Drinkwitz's press conference, they don't seem panicked or worried at all. So I think it's one of those things where they feel pretty good about it. I'll be interested to see kind of how this game shakes out. You got your keys to victory before we get out of here?
Yeah, I got a couple keys. I think the first one is you've got to pressure the quarterback. The offensive line is so bad. They gave up 9 sacks to Oklahoma. And obviously Oklahoma's defense is pretty good, especially, their front seven's really good. But, I think this is a game that Damon Wilson and Zion Young just have to eat. You can't give Jackson Arnold time, because at the end of the day, Jackson Arnold was still a 5-star recruit. He was still pretty sure Texas player of the year or whatever it was. So, you've got to force him into making those bad decisions, just like you did when he came to Columbia last year, and you forced him to try to get outside and run that ball, and he just couldn't do it. I think you need to limit your turnovers. For some reason, we can't hold on to the ball. We've been lucky to only lose 1 fumble all season, but you can't have the interceptions. You can't have the fumbles. You've got to take care of the ball, especially when you're deep in your own territory. And then I think we need to get back to controlling the clock. We controlled the clock in every single game, and obviously that has a lot to do with running, and we limited our rushing attack last week. I think we need to get back to doing that. Yeah, man, Bama owned us on the clock. That was it's just crazy to watch a team do what you've been doing, and you just can't flip it.
They couldn't get off the field. That was the biggest problem. They just could not get off the field on third downs. And their average that was the thing that was so frustrating, is the average third down distance for Alabama was still 6 yards, almost 7 yards, 6.8, which was less than Missouri's. And that's the thing is, they on first and second down, Missouri was doing great, but they couldn't get off the field on third down. That was so frustrating. And that's going to be probably a big point of emphasis, I would assume, from the coaching staff in this one. You got to get off the field. You got to get off the field on third down. That's going to be one of the big things there. I like the getting after the quarterback one, because Jackson Arnold has not played well this year. That offensive line has not played well this year. That offense in general has not played well this year. So getting after them, kind of nipping it in the bud, I think would probably be the best explanation of how you can do it with this Auburn offense. And you just got to take care of the football is obviously going to be a key one. But we've seen the past couple weeks, actually past 4 weeks, Bo's thrown an interception that has just been probably shouldn't throw that one. Mm-hmm. Probably should have maybe kept that one. Mm-hmm. And that's going to happen. This is his first year as a starting quarterback. So you expect those things, but as the year goes on, you want to see those less and less. So it's going to be a good get. 6:45, I think, is the kickoff time, right? 6:45 for this one. They keep doing those.
Nighttime and Jordan Hare. Is that her?
Jordan Hare, I think, is how.
I don't know. Do they actually say? I don't think it's supposed to be Hare, though.
Oh. I've always said Hare in my life, but it wouldn't be the first time I was wrong.
I mean, everyone says Furrow wrong, too, so it's fine.
That's true. They do. I think it's so funny how the SEC is doing these windows, right? So we got updated game time windows for Mizzou Vandy, and you're just okay, it's either going to be at 2:30 or 3:30 or 6:30 or just tell me a time, guys. Come on, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do next weekend, and you can't give me a time. 6:45, weird start time, but the Mizzou Auburn on ESPN, I believe, is what it is.
It is a lot more fun to have a season when your games SEC are on. Network. No, never mind. We are on SEC Network, so I take it back.
Yeah, Tom Hart.
But that's Auburn's fault. It's Auburn's fault. It's not our fault.
That's the A. It's the A team though for the SEC Network. It's not like the SEC Network C crew, SEC Network ESPN Plus combo. That. So at least you get the A crew for that.
Oh, yeah. Auburn's on SEC Network next week. Here's the thing, too. Without Auburn's schedule, it gets significantly easier after they play us.
Right.
They have They have us, then they have at Arkansas, home versus Kentucky, at Vandy, which is a tough one.
Yeah.
And then they have Auburn or Mercer.
Before.
And then they have obviously their rivalry week game. So part of me is not sure if they would fire Hugh Freeze, even if they lost this game, just with these games, and they still have that opportunity to get bowl eligible, but we'll see. I don't know. We just got to go 1-0 this week. That's all that matters.
Yep. Got to go 1-0. As I mentioned with the Vandy game, it is 2:30 or 3:15 is what your game windows are for that one. So,
well, good, because I'm going to Nashville, so
there you go.
That'll be perfect for me.
There you go. We'll have an early of the week podcast for that one, guys.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
We won't be doing Friday.
It would not be a Friday podcast. Appreciate everyone's patience in us getting this podcast out there too. Appreciate everybody tuning in, watching, and hanging out with us. Vandy next week. You know what? I'll be honest. Hand up. I don't think I know any Vandy people. I don't know if we're gonna have Vandy people on the pod.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah, we'll ask around and we'll see what we can get. But appreciate everybody hanging out with us here as Mizzou will take on Auburn in just a few short hours, probably from when you're listening to this podcast. So I appreciate you guys so much. Maggie, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, just we got time to get back on track.
Yep. Get right this week against the Auburn Tigers. We'll be back. I'll have a post-game show for you. I will have a post-game show for you guys, and I will be live after that game goes final. Hopefully it's a lot better vibe than the last post-game show we just did. So appreciate you guys there. Make sure to like and subscribe to the Mizzou, the KCSM Mizzou YouTube page. Follow us on Twitter at KCSM Mizzou. All those fun spots you can get all of your Mizzou content at. Hearing some rumors that we're getting black on white on black helmets, white jerseys, black pants.
You finally get to wear the
If I get to wear the white tops,
the white jerseys.
Yeah, if I finally get to break out the white tops, they're gonna be crispy this year because I haven't worn them yet. But excited for it. We will we'll be back with you guys after Missouri takes on Auburn. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. For Maggie Johnson, I'm Tucker Franklin. We will talk to you guys next week.